What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is T.E. Lawrence, and today we shall discuss why the second circle is so damn awesome. Helltaker is a great game, no doubt about that. Otherwise, I wouldn't have made a whole catalog of videos about it. With great characters, great mechanics, and great soundtrack, this brief but exciting game about sharply dressed demon girls will be immortalized for years to come. That said, however, something about Helltaker, especially its ending, felt missing, or rather incomplete, because after the Helltaker gathers his demon girl harem, they all move to the surface and then, that's it.
Huh, great. What do I win?
Nothing! Now get out!
What?
Yup, nothing more. And there's nothing wrong with that. Van Ripper did not intend for Helltaker to be some epic tale with a grandiose plot. It's just a short and bite-sized experience about courting a harem of sharply dressed hot demon girls. Even so, surely I'm not the only one who yearned for more after the ending. Surely, I'm not the only one who saw potential for much more after the Helltaker gathered his harem of demon girls. What does each demon girl do now that they're all settled in the household? How do their lives in the surface compare to the Inferno? Perhaps there is more than it meets the eye for the demon girls. Surely, I'm not the only one who yearned answers for these questions. Well, dear viewers, our prayers were answered in the form of The Second Circle, a fan game developed by a team of passionate devs called Team 133. A fan game so well made that I personally consider it to be the unofficial sequel of Helltaker. A fan game so uncanny that I actually thought it was the official sequel. A fan game so loved by many, including myself, that it has actually inspired my own Helltaker fan art. Now, before we go on, I want to caution you that there are a lot of spoilers in this video. Therefore, if you haven't played Second Circle yet, and you wish to play it spoiler-free, stop this video now and go ahead and play it, and then come back. The TLDR version is, yes, Second Circle is that much amazing. Besides, it's free anyways, so go ahead and play it. Do it now!
Come on. Do it! Do it!
Also, before we proceed, enjoy the speed paint of the Helltaker household celebrating the new year of 2025. As always, the finished piece will be shown at the end. So without further ado, let's begin! Before we dive into the game itself, let's first explore the backstory of the Second Circle and why it was made. For that, I shall pull this article from Indie Game Picks, which showcases an interview for one of the devs in Team 133, Remate. To quote the article, "What inspired you to start working on the Second Circle?" To which Remate replies, "When my friends and I initially played Helltaker, I fell in love with the characters and the story that Van Ripper had created. When we got to the final portion of the game, where you interact with the demons in Taker's home, I thought it was a little lacking. I wanted more interaction with the characters, so my friends and I began talking, and sooner or later, we got the idea in our heads that could create a fan game for Helltaker that fleshed out the characters a bit more and actually let you spend time with them. Thus, the Second Circle came into existence." And Remate, I could not agree with you more. The quote-unquote plot, if one could even call it that, really does feel bare bones with that ending. And once again, surely I wasn't the only one who thought there was potential for much more with the Helltaker cast. And I'm glad I wasn't the only one. Thankfully, a group of people in the form of Team 133 felt so strongly about this potential that they took matters into their own hands by delivering the Second Circle, which gives an experience what many Helltaker fans like myself yearn for. So what exactly is the Second Circle? It is essentially a Helltaker dating sim game, which is the bite-sized description. But that wouldn't do such masterpiece any justice. Because Second Circle is much more than just a dating sim game about picking up the Helltaker demon girls. Second Circle does what many like myself wanted to see more of, by fleshing out each demon girl's character and backstory and showing that there are much more than just hot demon girls. Furthermore, there is also an actual plot in the game. Well, loosely that is. The Second Circle takes place a full year after the Helltaker consolidated his demon girl harem and moved to the surface. And unlike the ending of the main game, things seem to be a lot more peaceful and cordial than the absolute dysfunction showcased in the cutscenes. In fact, everyone appears to have settled in their own routine and just mind their own business. Hell, all the girls even have their own bedrooms, where they each indulge in their own lives. And this is why I always say the Helltaker household resembles more of a giant family as opposed to a harem. For example, Azazel comes off like the older daughter who's still in college and working on her PhD thesis, while Melina is like the one neat child who refuses to move out and does nothing but consume booze and video games all night long. Suffice it to say, these slices of their new lives on the surface truly highlight their character more than the base game did, where they're all still slugging along in hell. But alas, this is still a Helltaker fan game, and therefore, the harem part can't be neglected. Even if the Helltaker already gathered his harem of sharply dressed hot demon girls, the job ain't over yet for a jacked up Phoenix Wright lookalike. Now he must do the even more difficult part, which is getting to actually know them. Just like a business, it's one thing to build up from the start, but it's a whole nother ordeal to maintain the business on a sustainable level for years to come. Therefore, in order to maintain the harem, as the Helltaker, your task is to partake in dates with each demon girl and forge a closer bond. They may be demons, but they still spent their valuable time and standing back in hell to follow you to the surface. It's only fair that the man himself accommodate and be a good host to his guests. And through the various dates with the demon girls plus Angel, you will find that there is indeed a lot more than meets the eye. Whether it's casual walks with Lucifer during the calm evening, or going on mini adventures to the park with Cerberus, the Second Circle will provide a rich and engaging experience that will keep you invested in each demon girl plus Angel and yearning for more. Speaking of the demon girls plus Angel, all the characters still emulate the original designs of the base game, while still retaining their own unique spin. In fact, the artist named Dana O'Hara did an excellent job replicating Van Ripper's art style, which really made the Second Circle feel like a true sequel. That said, there is one big difference from the base game, which is their wardrobe. Whereas the base game emphasizes the sharply dressed point, in Second Circle, everyone is dressed in casuals. You have Panda Monica, who's dressed in her cozy business casuals like the secretary she is, but much more comfortable and approachable than her original fit. You have Modius, who's dressed in a beautiful one-piece dress, which reflects her own beauty just as much. You have Cerberus, who's dressed in shoulderless tops, which really highlights her youthful and energetic nature. You have Melina, who's dressed in her appropriate casual gamer girl outfit, which really gives off streamer vibes. You have Zedrada, who couldn't wait to ditch her uniform and wear something more reflective of her character. You have Azazel, who also ditched her heavenly uniform for a casual turtleneck, giving off major college student vibes. You have Justice, who ditched sleeves altogether to show off her gains, like the awesome action-packed tomboy she is. You have Lucifer, who also dons a shoulderless top as opposed to her slick business suit, which really highlight how much relaxed she's become in her new suburban home life. You have Judgment, whose outfit actually most resembles her base form. In fact, she even continues sporting her gauntlets, but it's still more modest due to public decency laws of the mortal world. Yet, beautiful nonetheless. Right, Capitan? You bet your ass. And as a bonus, you have Beelzebub, who's dressed in a red jumpsuit of some sort, which accurately reflects her status as a prisoner of the Abyss. With the exception of Beelzebub, these wardrobe changes really do highlight their developments from settling down on the surface. But even Beel appears to have adjusted to her life in the Abyss, for better or worse. For that, these wardrobe changes do not only mark a development of style and aesthetics, but also development of character. Back down in the Inferno, everyone was dressed more or less in the same manner. Just like uniform standards in the military, or dress codes in megacorporations like those in East Asia, everyone had to more or less conform to the same standards in Hell, which really reflected its regimented and even draconian environment. Even so, there are still some variety within the Demon Girls, which reflected their different roles and personalities. But Second Circle took advantage of the Demon Girls settling on the surface and went even further. On the mortal surface, the Demon Girls were not restricted by the standards and rules of the Inferno. Up there, they had the freedom to not only choose how they present themselves, but also the opportunity to explore the lively and vibrant world of the mortals. But more importantly, they had the opportunity to explore themselves as well, which they couldn't have, or rather, had no need to back down in the dry and restrictive Inferno. Lucifer, with her newfound affinity for her domestic home life, appears to have loosened up from her stiff and upright appearance of a CEO, and switched to something more reflective of her newfound comfort and homey self. Zedrada, being the rebel girl she is, really doubled down on the punk/gangster aesthetic, like the chaotic provocateur she really is. Ironically though, I think this outfit makes her even more fitting for Hell, but I guess even Hell has standards. And of course, Judgment's similar wardrobe to her base form reflects her guarded and cautious nature, as appropriate of the High Prosecutor. For her, even if she's on quote-unquote vacation on the surface, her duty as High Prosecutor still remains and therefore, she is never off the clock. And if that means still dressing the part as well, so be it. Still, despite her wardrobe remaining more or less the same, I'd argue the High Prosecutor has had the most development from moving to the surface. By rediscovering her kind self, As well as countless opportunities to engage in such kindness, judgment grew not just on the outside, but also on the inside, which is why her dates in Second Circle are S tier. Speaking of the dates, I've stated this before in previous videos, but I'll repeat it here as well. Helltaker is a character-based story, which is contingent on interactions with each demon girl. Unlike the typical narrative-based story, there is no formal plot that leads the protagonist from the beginning to the climax to the end. Helltaker is about exploring the character of each demon girl and forming a relationship with them. And the stories are told by each demon girl plus Angel's interaction with the Helltaker, the environment, and each other. That said, however, even the base game only showcases so much interaction, and most of it focuses on trying not to get killed by giving correct answers to their questions. And once again, little is focused on what happened afterwards. Fortunately, Second Circle steps in to save the day. Not only does it explore the aftermath of the base game, it also provides proper interactive experiences with each demon girl through multiple quote-unquote dates. Unlike the base game, where interactions are mostly limited to answering 1 or 2 questions, in Second Circle, a single date with each girl goes about 15 minutes or more, thus providing ample opportunity to experience them. As opposed to some life or death survival mode, in Second Circle, the conversations are more natural and peaceful. Like dates in real life, you gotta take things slow and be more suave. Not speaking from experience, but just from hearsay. Anyways, the dates do an excellent job in highlighting everyone's developments from their new lives on Earth. By showcasing their personalities, quirks, backstories, and even hidden secrets, Second Circle manages to humanize each demon girl, which is impressive on its own considering demonkind's antipathy towards humanity. In Azazel's dates, we find out that Azazel is more than just some quirky academic obsessed with research. Turns out, she's a genuinely kind being who really lives up to her angelic nature, even after the curator has his outburst at the museum. Azazel is very forgiving and even helps out the poor old man with his museum problems, aiding in the capture of the burglar that's been stealing all the displays. That said, despite her bubbly persona, everyone has their baggage, including our favorite Angel Girl. Because turns out, her obsession with research isn't received very well back in heaven, which has unfortunately alienated our precious Angel. But it was only after she moved into Taker's house that she could not only be herself, but also feel accepted with a sense of belonging. That scene at the first date really wanted me to give her a hug. Well, to paraphrase the self-proclaimed king of Helltaker, corrupted judge, go sub to him by the way, you are not weird, Azazel. There's nothing wrong with being passionate about research and you should stay passionate. And amen to that. And just coming from me, just be yourself, Azazel. Be the real you and be proud of it. In Justice's dates, we found out that Justice is more than some chill and careless demon. In fact, Second Circle also disproves this notion that Justice is dumb. She may be no Stephen Hawking or Albert Einstein, but boy can she read people really well, despite the fact that she's blind. Whether it's encouraging Taker to revive his figure painting hobby, or calling out Taker for failing to realize why Melina was upset when Zedrata crashed a date, Justice is certainly the most intelligent when it comes to emotions and people skills. Furthermore, what makes Justice particularly special compared to the other girls is that she plays a static character. In all the other dates, Taker is the static character that encourages change and development for the girls, who are the dynamic roles. But in Justice's dates, she is the one that encourages change towards Taker by inspiring him to revisit his youthful hobby, which proves how truly awesome Justice is because she doesn't need encouragement, and rather encourages you instead. And as a bonus, we also get to explore the Helltaker's background a bit, which is a massive plus for me because I feel the Helltaker himself doesn't get much focus. Another reason why Justice is so awesome because only through her do we get to uncover these hidden gems. In Pandemonica's dates, we find out why Pandemonica is so perpetually tired, and for very sad and heartbreaking reasons. Before Second Circle, I must admit that Pandemonica wasn't exactly at the top of my list because she came off as the typical cold and unapproachable character. But her dates in Second Circle really did her justice by diving deeper into her background, which revealed why she was the way she is. And because I want to do her justice, I won't spoil anything here and I would rather have you go ahead and experience her dates yourself. What I will say is that she's been burdened a lot and just like Azazel, I really want to give her a hug as well. That said, however, the wholesome breakfast date at the cafe does warm my heart, knowing that Pandemonica is still able to enjoy herself from time to time. Besides, just look at that smile. Aww. And there are so much more. Furthermore, since there are multiple dates for each girl, there is plenty of time to indulge in your favorite demon girls plus Angel. But wait, there's more! Because we can't possibly move on without discussing the actual world of Second Circle. What I especially appreciate about Team 133 is how much effort they put into illustrating proper backgrounds into Second Circle. Backgrounds that are fully colored and highly detailed, be it the cutscenes or the actual dates. Whether it's the cafe on Pan Monica's date, the spa on Modius' date, the nighttime stroll with Lucy, or even the interiors of Taker's house, the whole scenery is peak and really aids with the immersion. As a massive sucker for highly detailed backgrounds myself, I believe they are extremely important for showing the whole scene, especially when it comes to story and immersion-based mediums like dating sims. Yes, backgrounds are a hassle to make, which is why many artists don't even bother with them and only focus on characters. But the extremely talented artists of Team 133 put in the hard work, and as a result, Second Circle became a vibrant world of its own, independent of Helltaker. One that makes me want to step in through the screen and explore it myself. For that, the dates of Second Circle aren't just about experiencing each girl, but also experiencing the wonderful universe constructed by Team 133. Through great character designs and awesome environments, Second Circle manages to tell a great story. Speaking of storytelling, I know this comes as a surprise, perhaps even contradictory after all I said about Helltaker being a character-based story. Even so, you'd be surprised to know that Second Circle does actually have a loose narrative and therefore, a plot. Before I proceed, however, once again, this will be a bit of a spoiler, so in case the previous spoiler warning didn't register, here's a second spoiler warning in case you don't want to be spoiled by this detail. So for the second time, go and play it, and then come back. With that said, the loose narrative of Second Circle revolves around a mysterious group of exiled demons called the Old Lords, whom I've occasionally mentioned in my Helltaker Worth It series. Loose is the key word here because unlike a typical narrative story, it is not told in a linear fashion but rather through little clues sprinkled throughout the various dates. But that's what makes the whole story exciting because as opposed to being told directly what the plot is, it's up to the player to gather the details and connect the dots, thus maintaining the aura of mystery and intrigue. I won't outright state the whole story in detail for once again, I think it's better for you to experience it by playing Second Circle firsthand. That said, let's just say the Old Lords have a score to settle with Lucifer, and I can feel the calm before the storm. In any case, the fact that Second Circle also goes beyond just slices of lives and introduces an intriguing plot serves as icing on the cake. So that finally wraps up why the Second Circle is so damn awesome. Second Circle is much more than just a fan sequel to Helltaker. Second Circle is much more than just a Helltaker dating sim. Second Circle is an expansion of monumental levels by providing what the base game lacked, especially with its ending, yet also what many fans like myself yearned for. By developing the original characters further, Second Circle manages to portray the Demon Girls plus Angel and even the Helltaker to be more than just that. It manages to showcase them as actual people we can relate to, all with their own unique personalities, quirks, aspirations, struggles, backstories, and etc. By constructing a proper world, Second Circle manages to portray a realistic scenery of the characters' newfound lives and experiences on the surface, as well as the growth that comes with it. By showing a wonderful story through compelling characters in vibrant environments, Second Circle manages to expand Helltaker beyond just a simple puzzle game. Furthermore, on a personal note, Second Circle also serves as a huge inspiration to me. Along with Amadeus films, Second Circle not only encouraged me to make my own Helltaker art, but also helped me become the artist I am today. As an artist myself, the wholesome atmosphere and vibrant environmental storytelling is something I try to emulate within my own artwork, even beyond Helltaker art. I myself enjoy making detailed and vivid backgrounds, along with portraying mundane yet wholesome slices of life of the Helltaker household, and that is all thanks to Second Circle. In addition, the wholesome vibes of Second Circle not only lighten up my mood, but also highlight the kind of life I want to build for myself. Not that I want to build a harem of demon girls, but rather, the wholesome moments of Taker and Lucy taking a nighttime stroll, or going on a beach date with Pan and Monica, is what I want to emulate in my real life. These wholesome scenes remind me that the world isn't such a terrible place like it's made out to be, and can actually be quite wonderful and fulfilling. Okay, I think I opened myself a bit too much there. Anyways, to the wonderful devs of Team 133, I'd like to sincerely thank all of you for your inspiration. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be where I am today. So once again, thank you to Team 133 for making Second Circle. As of recording this, Second Circle isn't finished just yet, with the 4th date still being worked on. But rest assured, the game is still alive and the devs of Team 133 are hard at work to finish it up. So, in case you haven't gotten the memo yet, go ahead and show support by playing Second Circle. It's free to play and the link to it will be in the description below. If you've ever yearned for going on proper dates with your favorite Helltaker girl, your prayers have been answered. So once again, go play Second Circle. Please, I insist. Come on, what are you waiting for? Play it!
Come on. Do it. Do it!
Lastly, here's the finished drawing of the Helltaker household celebrating the new year. Let's just say, Taker is a really lucky guy in this scene. Meanwhile, Lucy is not happy about Justice stealing the New Year's kiss with a face reading, "Aw, hell nah." Well, sorry Lucy, you should have been quicker. Better luck next year. Finally, up next is probably my last Helltaker related video. Yeah, it feels bittersweet even saying that, but just hear me out. So until then, stay tuned. Thank you to my patrons on Patreon for supporting this channel. My $5 patrons are Kapitan Sladek, Kidzap, and Chocobird. My $2 patrons are Komida the Prep Cook Demon. If you would like to appear at the end credits of my videos, as well as have early access and exclusive content on Patreon, feel free to hop on over to patreon.com/LTELawrence and give a pledge. Your support is greatly appreciated. If you would like to see my artwork as well, feel free to check out my other platforms like DeviantArt for my entire gallery. Thanks for watching and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Until next time, this is T. Lawrence signing out. Have a good one.